Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast, powered by HSN Mentoring. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach. We know that helping our clients become the best and healthiest versions of themselves isn't just about going to the gym a few hours a week or telling them what to eat. We as gym owners and coaches have to prioritize a holistic approach, addressing nutrition, stress management, mindset, sleep, support system, lifestyle, and ultimately to help our members and our communities make health a way of life one step at a time. My name is Nicole Coyne, and I'm the founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition and CrossFit HSN. In this podcast episode, we are going to be talking about how to take one step at a time to build a successful nutrition coaching program. This podcast episode is a little different. I am so excited to introduce Karen Thomson. She is an incredible human. I learned so much about her and her passion for health and wellness in this podcast. It just is she is a shining light to inspire and connect people. She has such a passion for serving and helping people. She actually started CrossFit Health and transitioned out of that company. She shares the story of that transition in this podcast. But what we spend quite a bit of time talking about is this new virtual event that's going to eventually be in person that she's hosting called Revitafest. Through all of her connections with CrossFit and CrossFit Health, she had some amazing speakers who have an amazing message around health and wellness, and she's bringing all of them. Luckily, I'm a part of this crew, all of them together to host this virtual event in October. It's called Revitafest. We talk about some of the speakers, what someone can expect. The goal of this is just to empower people to understand more about their health, bodies, have fun. She is so much fun. You're going to love this episode. She is absolutely incredible. I'm so excited to support this mission that she has of empowering health, and I hope that this episode inspires you. She talked about, a pain that she had and struggles that she had, and she turned it into such a powerful purpose. And I think so many times we get lost in the day-to-day of what we're doing, and we get lost in why we're doing this to begin with. And I hope that as you're listening to this episode, you can connect with why you've dedicated your life to helping people take control of their health, why you've dedicated your life to nutrition and fitness and whatever space that you're in. Clearly, if you're listening to this podcast, you're excited about health and wellness for yourself and others around you. So hopefully you can connect back to why that is such a passion for you as you listen to this podcast. Enjoy this episode with Karen. There is a discount code if you decide that you want to join this virtual event. I will put it in the show notes. So excited to listen to all of these speakers. She's got people like Greg Glassman that are speaking at this event. Honestly, it's an incredible lineup. I'm excited to be a part of it. Karen, welcome to the Nutrition Made Simple podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
I don't think you're as excited as I am. So yes, there is a joint excitement here. I'm so grateful to be here. I adore you and everything that you do. So this to me is an honor and a privilege. And actually it just is an exciting time because I get to spend time with somebody who I truly adore and admire.
You're amazing. You are a type of person that you just want to be around all the time. Every time I'm with you, I just feel lifted up walking away and just super excited and revitalized, which is ironic that you are hosting an event with a similar title. Let's kind of backtrack. So we got connected through CrossFit Health years ago. That was your baby. You built this amazing network of people. And as a healthcare professional, I think it was so powerful and incredible to have a space that you created for all of us to come together on a regular basis. And honestly, I'm forever grateful for everything that you did. I know you put your heart and soul into those events, and it shined through. So that's how we got connected originally. But I want to backtrack. Before you started CrossFit Health, you obviously have been very passionate about health and fitness for a while and wellness. Why are you so passionate about health and wellness in general?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, those events were phenomenal, and I meet incredible people like yourself. Secondly, I actually had a call with Greg Glassman this morning for Revitafest. I interviewed him, and we spoke at length about the DDCs, the Dairy Doctors Club, which you're referring to, and how phenomenal they were and how we want to bring them back. So we're
Yes, please.
right. And then I'm like, well, I've got a call with Nicole. So it's like so serendipitous, so phenomenal. Like, yes.
Oh,
All of that stuff is 100% going to happen again. Not exactly as it was previously, but for sure. I'm so passionate about health and wellness because I come from a family that, we're rooted in health and wellness. My grandfather was Christian Barnard. He did the world's first heart transplant. My gran who pretty much raised me, was the nurse who sewed the very first heart valve that was used in this heart transplant. I mean, I grew up in a family where helping people was at the core of who we were. Like, there was nothing, and I have goosebumps, there was nothing else that I was taught more than, what can I do to help somebody else? What can I do to alleviate suffering, right? And this was always at the core of these messages. Like, what can I do as a person to leave the space that I'm in, to leave the world a little bit of a better place? And I had these dreams, Nicole. I so badly, my grandfather did the first heart transplant. I so badly wanted to do the first, and I was little. So don't like judge this at all, because it didn't make, I dreamed big. I wanted to do the world's first like brain transplant. And so I wanted to become a neurosurgeon. I was so little, but I had these dreams of becoming a doctor and following in his footsteps and really creating change, like helping people, creating change. Because what feeds me most in my life, I'm not driven by money. I wish I was. I'm driven by this deep desire to help people, to be there for people, to connect people, like to do all this stuff. Anyway, so I had these big dreams of becoming a physician, and I really wanted to work towards that. And then my life took a turn, a completely different turn, and there was a fork in the road. And instead of choosing the path towards becoming a physician and doing everything that I needed to do, I chose a different road, and I chose the road of getting into the modeling industry. I chose the road of, becoming obsessed with my body and the way that I looked, everything was placed. All my value, all my purpose was placed in the way that I looked and the way that I showed up, in what other people thought of me. And I completely lost touch with this passion and this purpose that sat inside of me. And so this took me down this journey of addiction and alcoholism and eating disorders, and into a place where I woke up at the age of 24 and I didn't know if I wanted to live anymore. And the reason I'm getting emotional is because today is my 19-year sobriety date.
Oh my gosh. What a milestone for us to be like, you to be kind of going through this story of, that was my past, and I decided to then take another fork in the road to completely turn around my life. Oh my gosh.
19 years ago, I woke up and I looked at myself in the mirror after a heavy binge, and I didn't recognize this person staring back at me. And it was like my life flashed before my eyes. And I thought back to that little girl who wanted to become a neurosurgeon, who wanted to change people's minds, who wanted to change people's lives. And I was like, all I have to show for my life at the age of 24, I should have been in medical school by now, I should have done so much more, is this life with no passion, with no purpose. I don't recognize the person looking back at me. It was like this field of broken dreams and empty promises and like messed up relationships. And really the only people who were still willing to be in my life were my parents. And in that moment, I was like, I can either choose to take my own life today, or I can choose life. And I decided that day to choose life. And I decided that I would do whatever I could to live a life of passion and purpose, no matter how hard it got. And so that was the day that I asked for help, and my parents came to me, and they booked me into rehab, and I started on this journey for 9 months in rehab. And it was literally the worst time of my life. It was so freaking hard, but because I had to like get to know myself. I had to pick up from where I'd left off. I had to learn to grow up. I had to learn to take responsibility. I had to stop looking for these external solutions to these internal problems. And so finally through that journey, I got into this addiction treatment space and then the sugar addiction treatment space. And then Greg and I met at a conference. And when I was speaking on sugar addiction, he asked me to come on board and help him start up CrossFit Health. And so that's how that all came about. And then recently I lost my job at CrossFit. I got a call one day about 4 months ago. And well, actually I was quickly doing my laundry and I had my phone with me in case any like work emails or anything came through, and it pinged and it was a lady from the HR department and it was just a link to a Zoom call. And I just knew, I was like, oh my God, like I am going to lose my job. And I got on this call and I had gone into complete shock. Like I just disassociated. And I was like, I've lost my job, right? And she was like, you've lost your job and we're going to wipe your laptop. And this is all I remember. We're going to wipe your laptop. You have 24 hours. You can keep your laptop. And I was like, I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. Like I have no one to help me. Like I live in a country where I don't have family. Like it's just me. What am I going to do? And I felt devastated. It felt like my child had been taken away from me. This thing that I cared so deeply about, this community that I loved with all my heart, even though I was very far behind the scenes. I never allowed myself to be in front and center of CrossFit Health at all. It was like everything that I had lived and breathed for the last 6 years was suddenly taken away from me in an instant. And I called my ex-husband and I was like, Steve, I lost my job. And I just started crying. And he came and he took me, he just opened this like container pallet store in this area. And, you know, it was just like all this junk there. And I remember just being like, I cannot function right now, but I need to do something. And I remember just like pricing stuff and then breaking down and crying and then pricing stuff and then breaking down and crying. And it was just like, it was such a surreal moment. And I have to say that just this year has been the hardest year of my life. It's been harder than going into rehab. It was harder than going through a divorce. It was harder than everything that has happened. Like this year has kicked my butt. But I can tell you that I've learned so much about myself. I've learned about this resilience and the strength and the beauty of the human spirit and so much that comes with it. And then, you know, I'm not one to sit around long and feel sorry for myself. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do next? And actually, like during this time, I'd reached out to Dr. Gabrielle Lyon that day. I don't even know why. We'd met and we had communicated and we'd become friendly, but I just felt this like need to reach out to her, and also to Dr. Quadro, Kyrie Menteng. He's a Canadian ICU physician, and, you know, some other people. And Gabrielle Lyon was like, listen, you write out your dream job right now and you send it to me and we are going to make this happen. And I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, somebody's telling me what to do. I'm going to do this. So I start writing out my dream job. And really what it comes down to is this passion to help people, to change lives, to stop suffering. My grandfather had this quote that says, I saved the lives of 150 people through heart transplantations. If I had focused on preventative medicine earlier, I would have saved 150 million. And I was like, this is the driving force. Like, how are we going to keep focusing on reversing and, stopping suffering and like reversing chronic disease and helping people get better? And so I did what I did best, what I know best. And I decided I was going to organize an event. I'm talking so much, Nicole.
Okay, first of all, I learned so much about you in the past 10 minutes that I feel like I should have known all of this. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and opening up. Like, I can't imagine what you've been through the last year, because everyone knows everything with CrossFit hasn't exactly been the easiest path before this last year. But I am so confident that you have made amazing connections during your 6 years at CrossFit that everyone wants to support whatever your next chapter is. I know as soon as you reached out to me, I was like, yeah, just let me know what you want. Like, I'm happy to do whatever. Like, you have this magnetic personality that people just want to come and connect with you and be around you. And everyone that is attracted to you all has the same purpose and vision to help people and empower people to take control of their health. So I'm excited for this event. Let's talk a little bit. You mentioned it at the beginning, like Greg is clearly involved in some way, shape, or form. But tell me a little bit about the vision of this virtual event this year that you're going to be hosting and what it looks like in the future.
Yeah, so Revitafest is short for Revitalize Health Festival. And so I was thinking when I was doing this layout that Gabrielle Lyon was saying, I should do, I thought, okay, what are the things that I love most in life? So I love health education. I love bringing people together. I love community. And then I also love dancing. I freaking love dancing. So this year I was at Coachella and I'd never been to Coachella before. And you have to come with me next year. You and Jason have to come. Okay. So I was at Coachella and I was dancing and I was literally like, oh, like this is phenomenal. This is just like, I feel so connected. Like there's hundreds of thousands of people here. Everyone's dancing together. Everyone's just joyous and free. And I was like, this is what I need more of in my life. And in fact, this is what society needs more of in their life. And it's not necessarily an overpriced music festival. It's this sense of connection, this sense of belonging, this sense of being connected to something greater than ourselves, right? Which I know that you have a great understanding of. And bring music and fun into the mix, So I was like, I'm gonna be on a mission to make health sexy and fun again. Sexy and fun being the like, and not sexy isn't like sexual, but just like creative and free and like be who you want to be. Show up as you are in your big, bold version of yourself. I will hug you. I will embrace you. You are not too much. So everybody can show up in this, like whatever they want. So I love health and education and like bringing people together and bringing experts together. So Revitafest this year is a virtual event because I couldn't afford to host it in person. So I have to start somewhere, right? So this year we have over 30 speakers, including you, who is talking about, sorry, my Siri for some reason is like,
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Sorry. So yeah, over 30 speakers in like world-class speakers. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I'm organizing this event. Would you consider being a part of it? I didn't think I was going to have every single person say yes. But every single person that I reached out to was like, absolutely. So we have this Revitafest is this merging of health education, practical application through workshops, and then this element of fun, of the festival, of community, of bringing together like music and dancing and people and breath work and meditation into this like event that we just want to come together. We want to learn, we want to experience, and we want to create some excitement so that people can fall in love with themselves and their lives again.
I think this will renew purpose in so many people's lives. I think a lot of times we get caught up in the day-to-day and all the things, and like what you mentioned earlier and where you are, I think there's more people that are in that spot or just have lost their sense of direction and what they're wanting, and they're not super fulfilled. And by joining a community like this and getting connected with other people, we all rise the tide together. So it's a virtual event that's going to have application, some health education in there, fun. Of course, I don't think you can be around you without fun. Big picture, who is this event for? Like, if someone's listening to this, who would be the best person to attend this type of event?
Oh my gosh, great news that this virtual event has just been approved for 18 CEUs from CrossFit. So I want all the beautiful, magical CrossFit trainers and affiliates who need CEUs to attend. And whether you need CEUs or not, like this is an event very much based in the CrossFit methodology, right? Where it's about real food, it's about working out, it's about exercise nutrition, it's about mindset, it's about lifestyle changes, it's about practical applications, and it's about how you can change not only your own life, but if you're working with clients, like what you can do to understand and, support them better in all areas of life. So it's exposing people to various aspects, because it's not just about exercise and nutrition. It's about mindset. It's about relationships. Like we even have some talks on like sex and orgasms. You know what I mean? It's just like exposing people to this wide array of information in 20-minute interviews. So it's not like a long, boring lecture. It's 20-minute interviews, very focused on a topic. And I think it's going to be quite powerful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Who are some of the speakers you're most excited about?
You? I'm very excited about you for sure. I mean, the speakers are phenomenal. I obviously have a huge soft spot and a massive amount of gratitude for Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, who's going to be a part of it. Dr. Jason Fung, another person who I was like, hey, Jason, I'm doing this, and he's so busy. And I mean, he's just like got 1 million followers on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, this man definitely does not need to do anything for me. He immediately said yes. And he was like, you know, that conference you organized in Cape Town? Because I organized this low carb conference in Cape Town in 2015 in an effort to get support for Professor Tim Noakes. And this was the first time that Gary Taubes and Steve Finney and Eric Westman and the big players in the low carb space all came together in one space, and it kind of united them. And Jason Fung at that point in time was a very unknown Canadian nephrologist who was just starting to like speak out. And he said to me on this interview, he was like, you know, that you believing in me and you inviting me to this event, like, put me on the map.
Wow.
And it's not about me, right? And that's not what I'm trying to say, but the interactions that I'm having with people and the lesson that I'm learning at the moment is never underestimate. And I'm going off a different tangent a little bit. Never underestimate the power of kindness and seeing people.
There is literally a podcast that I was listening to this week, and it was some famous guy's nutrition advisor and Arnold Schwarzenegger's nutrition advisor, and how he shared the story of how he became his nutrition advisor. Essentially was being kind to this guy at the gym that was connected to him, and he introduced him to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And like, that's it. Like, what's the secret to success? It's like, just be a good human and keep the doors open, right? Like, you never know what connections that you're going to be able to help other people make connections, and what connections could be made for you.
Absolutely. And so many people, like recently, you know, Matt Souza, who does Sevon's podcast with him, he reminded me the other day, he was like, oh my gosh, like I will help you in any way because you were so kind to me. You allowed me to come to one of the DDCs. And I remembered he sent me this email saying, please, can I come to this DDC? I know it's only for healthcare professionals. I'm willing to sweep the floors and clean up. And I was like, oh my gosh, come. Another person who done that was Josh Clementi, who started Levels Health. Another guy who at that stage in life was just thinking, had a concept. Now he's super, super successful. But you know, I'm digressing a little bit. But anyway, I just wanted to point out that so much of the beauty that's coming into my life is because of you know, just randomly being kind to somebody who I had no reason to be kind to. And anyway, the speakers that I'm so excited about, I actually have to tell you that there are so many of them. Dr. Jamie Seaman is phenomenal as well. Also just was like, absolutely, what can I do for you? Tommy Wood, I'm very, very fond of him. He's always been a phenomenal human, like in the space of longevity. And he's going to talk about the unoptimized life, which I'm so excited about. Because as you can see, no Whoops, no Aura, no Apple phone, nothing. I don't track a single thing. I'm not anti it, but I'm up for this unoptimized life for sure. Like, yeah, I can figure out how much, if my sleep is doing well. Then some new people that I met. So Don Saladino, who's a trainer in New York, his big heart and kindness blew me away. I'm such a fan right now. It's really fun. Connor Murphy, who you know from the CrossFit space, you know, because Connor embodies the spirit of Revitafest to me in a big way. He is fun. He's fearless. He's been through his own challenges in life. And, you know, like, so he's a big one. And then Asima Hotra, Gary Taubes, Nina Teicholz, like huge people that are, you know, that are just giants in the space. that are willing to do it. Prof Tim Noakes, and then like moving outside the space as well a little bit, like Rainier Wild, who I found on Instagram, and he wrote this phenomenal book called As You Are, Meditations on Self and Others. And it's just like a beautiful way of reflecting on relationships with self and with others. You know, Rob Lustig, Rob Wolf, all the Robs, and you know, new people as well. And then we have workshops and things. So I'm very excited and grateful for this. And then Greg and Emily Kaplan, so Greg Glassman and Emily Kaplan, and I had the interview. I recorded the interview with Greg this morning, and it was beautiful. I was just like, you know, this is why this man created CrossFit, because he is a genuinely good human being. You know, we all have so many flaws and things, but his heart is in the right place. And I feel like Revitafest has really allowed me to connect once again with people's hearts. Because when I interview somebody, I genuinely fall in love with every single person in that moment. It is amazing. So sometimes, Nicole, I fall in love like 6 times a day. It's so anyway, and I feel like that's what, like, when you're in your passion and your purpose, like that comes to fruition. And so apart from like what we're giving other people, like this has been such a blessing to me.
I think it's also given you a renewed sense of purpose to be able to take something and make it your own and do what you want and make it as big as you want, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no restrictions, and you have so many people that are supporting you on this journey. You mentioned a lot of people. Can we just talk about a couple specific topics that people might be super excited to listen in on? I'll go first. So specifically, I'm going to be talking about how to take control of your health, how to prioritize not only nutrition, but also sleep, stress management, mindset, and this holistic framework. And then we'll throw in some bits and pieces for coaches too. So if you are just looking to learn more about health to empower yourself, I know my session, I'm positive other people's sessions will be really good, but then there's also going to be this spin for coaches and gym owners to be able to apply this to your own communities. Ultimately, you've got to practice what you preach to feel confident. So no matter what session you're in, taking it for yourself to be able to learn it for you, to then be able to apply to others is definitely step number one. But what are some of the other like awesome topics that people are going to be talking about?
Well, I think, you know, I really wanted to build the case for like why we are facing this chronic disease epidemic that we are, right? Like, what does the history say? So we have like Nina Teicholz, Gary Taubes, Rob Wolf, like talking about the hallmarks of health and really trying to understand what this concept of health really means in order to see how we can shift and change that. So looking at the history, looking at broken science, looking at like all those topics really interests me. And then so from there we go into and we shift into a lot of like solutions for different people, because you know more than anyone, like we are all individual, right? Just because you may love a macronutrient approach to or that works best for you doesn't mean that you don't have a client in the gym that wants to do carnivore, right? So if you understand through Sean Baker or Anthony Chaffee's videos a little bit better, like you understand carnivore a little bit better, that is only going to be valuable to yourself and others. And then fasting, you know, we have Jason Fung and Megan Ramos. Megan is specifically taking fasting into a space of women and fasting. And there's not that much information out there specifically aimed at women. I mean, most of the research in science gets done on cohorts of men. So trying to kind of fill this gap. And then Jamie Seaman, once again, talking about women and women's health. And this doesn't mean that it's only for women, because I think it's so important for the men in our lives to understand what it is that's going on and how we show up and how hormones impact everything and why we don't necessarily respond in the same ways. So that's interesting. And then moving from there into mindset and sleep. You know, we have ICE Physical Therapy, so Institute of Clinical Excellence, talking about mobility, and they're redefining what that means. That kind of stuff. And Quadro talking about leadership. We have some stuff about kids. You know, it just kind of is moving through all aspects of things we face in the gym environment, the conversations we have during workouts, you know, it's not just about the nutrition and the fitness, but it encompasses everything.
I love that. Looking at a holistic approach. So if you're a coach and you have been missing some of the pieces of the puzzle, this could be a great way to just get introduced to it and then decide, all right, what do I want to learn a little bit more about? Karen, I think what you guys are doing is absolutely incredible. We've been talking about this virtual event, but we haven't actually said, like, where can people find out more information about it? Where can they buy tickets? When exactly is it? Let's give some details.
Yeah. Okay. So it's October 17th until the 21st. It's going live during that time. However, if you buy a ticket, you can watch it for 90 days following the event. And as I mentioned, it's been accredited for 18 CEUs by CrossFit. So you can use that towards that. You can join us on the days, or you can watch it at any time afterwards. Visit revitafest.com. You have, Nicole, you will post a link, I'm sure, where people can actually click and go there. I would love to give your audience a discount if you'd be up for that. So I think check the details in the description of this event, but otherwise revitafest.com. We are on Instagram as @Revitafest. And come follow us, please. Show us some support. And the one thing that I forgot to mention was that, Greg's talk is beautiful. We spoke at length about what CrossFit Health was, what it was meant to be, what it can look like in the future. We spoke about the affiliates. We spoke about the professionalization of trainers, right? And what that means. We spoke about what he believes the future of CrossFit should be, and also like what he believes that the trainers and affiliates can do to really thrive. So there's a lot of valuable information in there. His talk is not 20 minutes. It ended up being an hour, and it could have been 3. So it's you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's all very, very exciting.
That's amazing. I'm super excited about this event. I can't wait to listen to some of the other speakers. Now I'm very excited to listen to Greg's talk too. It's always so fascinating to see what his vision is and where he's going. Ultimately, what CrossFit Health was such an amazing opportunity for healthcare professionals to all get connected, because ultimately it kind of feels like you're on an island sometimes. That's the way it felt for me when I was working at the hospital, and it was like an uphill battle that I was climbing, and every single physician that I've talked to feels the same way. So it's just a really great network. If you are a physician and you want to get connected with other like-minded physicians, please get connected through CrossFit Health. I'm excited to keep following you guys and we will stay in touch. So when you do release the next iteration of DDCs, we will make sure and put that information out. From personal experience, it was the weekends that I looked forward to every single quarter. You guys did an incredible job just gathering people together, amazing speakers as always. And some of those speakers are speaking at your event, obviously, which I'm pumped about. Karen, thank you so much for all that you do. You're so passionate. You're making such an impact on people worldwide. I'm grateful to be connected with you and call you a friend.
Oh, I am so grateful to you. And I'm so grateful that you're doing a phenomenal workshop at Revitafest. Like, that means the world. But more than that, like, I'm so grateful for the way that you show up in this world, not only for others, but for yourself as well, because you truly do lead by example in the most magnificent way.
Thank you. I'm thankful that Karen shared her story and how she hit rock bottom and reignited that passion and purpose that she had instilled in her to help people with health and wellness and just be a light to so many people around her. So I'm excited she shared that story. I guarantee that you're here because you have a deep-rooted passion for health and wellness and you're listening to this podcast. And I'm curious if you have found yourself drifting away from that. Why are you here? Last year at the Gym Accelerator Summit, I talked about finding purpose and passion and reconnecting with that. Ben Newman, a motivational speaker for a lot of different companies, and he works with some NFL football teams, college football teams, calls this the burn. It's not necessarily your why. It's like deeper than that, like the burn that's inside of you that fires you up to get excited about helping people with health and wellness. And I listened to him speak this year, and it really got me back thinking a lot more about, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I so passionate about this? And a lot of us maybe have stepped too far away from that. And I hope that by you listening to Karen's story and hopefully taking a few moments after you get done listening to this podcast to think about, why are you doing this? Why are you so excited about it? Write it down, journal about it, read it every day, because there's ups and downs in coaching and business and all the things, and the world needs you more than ever. And you gotta stay excited about it and stay motivated and connect with your burn, your why, so that you can ultimately make a greater impact in transforming lives together. As Karen mentioned, there's a discount code. You can check out the comments for all of the information about that to her Revitafest. I'll be speaking, I think, on the first day. It's going to be a great time. I'll host a nutrition workshop. There's some incredible speakers. So go ahead and register for that. I'd love to see you there. It's a virtual event. We will be hosting an Instagram Live as well, answering any questions after that event. So hope to see you on the Instagram Live too. Check out the show notes for details about that. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you back here next week.